Hello Internet, this is part 5 of the Korg Electribe ESX-1 series that I'm running, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the effects, the onboard effects on this machine. So we're going to dive straight in. You'll notice that this middle section here has this bigger jog wheel which allows us to select effects that are written around the outside. You'll also notice that we've got 1, 2, 3 effects slots. The first thing to mention about effects is that once again these are independent to parts, so you can send each part to a specific effect slot or a combination of effect slots, which we're going to be looking at later. So this is not a global effects section. It will affect individual parts. I'm going to be saying effect a lot here. Okay, so let's just dive straight in. First thing is, how the hell do we send a particular part to a particular effect? So let's just hit play and I'll show you the pattern that we've got running here. Whoops-a-daisy, and I've already got stuff sent through, obviously. Cool. So got this pattern. We're going to try and give it a bit more va-va-voom and life using the effects on board here. So if I wanted to send this hi-hat part to an effect, I first select the part, and then I'm looking in this part common section here, and you'll notice that we've got effects select and effects send. And I will choose the effect slot that I want to send the effect to. Let's just start with 1. And then I have to hit FX send. Now when I press play, let's just get rid of everything. Accept the effect. And you can hear that there's a reverb applied to it. That means that on effects slot 1, there is a reverb. And I think by default, pretty sure by default, the first, all 3 effect slots have a reverb applied to them. In this kind of, the jog wheel's in this downward position here. If I cycle through, we can change the effect that is applied to that particular effect slot. So, what do these two do? What do these two pots do? Well, each effect has 2 parameters, only 2, pretty limited, but again, one of the things that I love about this machine is that it forces these limitations on you. You've got to work within those limitations, which can often force creativity and get you to do things that you wouldn't usually when you're kind of in the big blank canvas of a DAW like Live or Logic, Reason or whatever. So yeah, these 2 pots each do a specific thing, and that parameter or the purpose of these pots will change depending on the effects you've got selected. So let's hear the reverb, and let's tweak these pots, and as I tweak them up here, the readout will change and tell us what the parameter is doing. So this left hand pot is the time parameter, the decay time of that reverb. We can have it super short or super long. And the second pot is level, so it's the volume of the reverb. Kind of like a dry wet parameter, except that we don't actually lose the dry. The dry is always there, so it is just like a volume for the reverb. Cool. Let's change it to this short delay and see what parameters we've got. So I've swapped on the fly. I've swapped it from being a reverb to a short delay. You'll notice that there's a audible pause when you're flicking through effects. So it's not great to kind of switch through live effects when you're playing live, but there it is. So let's change this to short delay and see what we've got. Here we have a time control. So how quickly the sound is being delayed or echoed. And then again we've got this depth control, which this time is kind of like a dry wet, where we've got fully kind of delayed signal over here when the pot's fully open, and then no delays at all when we've closed it all the way to the left. Cool. And what's cool about this short delay in particular is that you heard it there. When you swap between time values, you get this kind of like pitch drift as well. It's kind of like it's emulating an analog delay, you know, like a tape delay or something. And with really short values, you get this super kind of metallic sheen on it. So I've got my depth quite high here and my time quite low. And you get this awesome metallic sheen, which is great for techno. If I wanted a BPM that was synced to a delay, well, we've got one here called BPM sync delay. So if I change that, and then I move this first pot, you'll notice that the time value is now in musical resolution. So let's change it to 16th. This second pot again is just a depth control. Most effects on here have some sort of time control and some sort of level control. Maybe not so much the compressors and the EQs over here, but a lot of these effects are time-based effects. We've got delays, reverbs, choruses, phases, and all of these things are utilize time to get the sonic effect. So we always, well, 9 times out of 10, we have a time control and a volume or depth control here. Let's go a little bit further. So I'm using ESX-1 for my hi-hat here. There's nothing stopping me, and let's just get this under control a bit, and I actually prefer the short delay. There's nothing stopping me sending something else to ESX-1 as well. So what have I got here? I've got like a rim shot here, right? So I'm going to select that rim shot and then choose ESX-1. Whoops-a-daisy, get rid of that. ESX-1 here, and then hit effects send. And now that rim is being sent through to the delay as well. So you can send multiple parts to the same effect slot if you want. However, I'm going to choose effect slot 2 on my rim shot. So make sure I have it selected, change the effect slot, and make sure I've got it sent. And effect slot 2 is a reverb. So if I want to start editing that, maybe I want a different effect, or I just want to edit the reverb itself, I'm going to hit edit select, and we'll see that this LED jumps down to FX2, meaning that now these two pots are controlling this effect and not the previous one. So let's make it super noticeable. Sweet. That's the pitch control, not the reverb. Cool. Let's have a look at another one. Let's have a look at this mod delay. Again, the mod delay has 2 pots. One of them is time. It is synced. And this one is a depth control. The mod delay, I think, has some sort of filtering on the echoes or the delays. Kind of sounds like that. Sounding pretty good. Sweet. So in a live performance, I might be like selecting effects and then just cycling through the effect if I want to. Say I want to go back to affecting this hi-hat effect or effect slot 1. I can do that. I just make sure I select the right one before I do it and then go ahead and tweak. And what it means is these 2 pots essentially become 6 pots. They're able to control 6 different parameters depending on what you've got selected here. Okay, cool. Let's try applying this to a keyboard part that I've already got set up here. So let's just hear it. And I've got it filtered off. So I've used effect slot 1 for my hi-hats, I've used effect slot 2 for my rim shot. Let's send this to effect slot 3. Select the part, use the effect select to get to FX3, and hit effect send. And again, by default, that is a reverb. If I hit edit select to get to FX3, it's telling me it's a reverb up here. But let's try changing that to... let's try the chorus. Cool. With the chorus, we have the first pot controlling the speed of the chorus / flanger, and again a kind of depth control or a volume control for that effect here on the second one. Sounds cool, sounds kind of deep. Let's make this a reverb actually. I just want to show you something real quick. If I change this to reverb on the keyboard pad, so now we've got a reverb effect in this FX3 here. What I really like about this reverb is that it actually works kind of really nicely with sorry, I'm getting carried away. It actually works quite nicely with reverbs. It doesn't get too muddy. A lot of the time when you're using reverbs with stuff that's filtered out really, quite low, the resultant audio, the resultant sonics can be quite messy. I find this one more manageable than most. And again, we can use it for this kind of transition vibe. Not the world's best reverb, but it does the trick. That's pretty much it. I mean, we're going to talk about something else in a second, but let's just recap. So each part can be sent to effect slot 1, 2, or 3 by selecting the part, select the effect slot here, and then hit effect send. Then to set and edit that effect on the effects section here, we select the one we want using this edit select, and then we choose this effect that we want and edit the parameters using these two pots here. There's one last thing I want to talk about, and that is this effects chain section here. Up to now, we've been sending a part through to a single effect. But what I want to do now is to send one part to multiple effects, and we can do that using this effects chain here. When I hit this effects chain button, notice that this LED lights up. And what that's now telling us is that effects 1 and 2 are working in series. So the audio from this part the audio will come into effects 1, it will be affected by effects 1, and then it will be sent to effects 2, where it will be processed again. If I hit effects chain again, the LED jumps down to effects in between 2 and 3, meaning that anything that's sent to effects 2 now will be processed by 2 and then sent on to be processed by 3 as well. And then finally, if we hit it one last time, we can see that we can actually link all 3 effects. So hypothetically, we can send something into effects 1, it will be processed there, sent on to effects 2 and processed there, and then sent on again and be processed there, meaning that we can create a pretty complex effects chain here. So let's do this. I'm going to actually change the order of things a little bit. So I've got a reverb on effects 3, got a short delay there, a mod delay there. I'm just going to swap things around a little bit here. So let's leave the reverb where it is, but I want to change this to be a short delay, effects 2. And let's just make sure. And effects 1, I'm going to make our chorus. Let's make it quite a slow chorus. Cool, okay. So now I'm going to send my keyboard part, that kind of stab, through to the effects. Now notice that all we're hearing right now is the stab being sent to the reverb. Look, I've got it sent to FX3. And because FX3 is the last one in the chain, we're only going to hear it processed by that effect. If I hit effects select here, we can now hear a bunch of other effects in there, most notably the delay, but I'm going to change that in a sec. But what is happening now is that the keyboard part's being sent to effects 1, 2, and 3 in that order. Let's make this a sync delay, FX2, just so it's a little bit less messy. Sweet. Then I'm going to edit the chorus on FX1 as well. Sweet. And you can hear how they work really nicely together, these effects, and it allows you to create these chains that just sound more exciting and more dramatic. Now, they take a little bit more kind of tweaking and stuff, obviously. You've got to be on top of exactly what's on FX1, 2, and 3. Whoa, okay, so let's have a look at this. So look, I've got my hi-hat sent to FX1, meaning it's going through the full chain. I only want it on FX3. Getting a bit carried away now. Whatever. Cool, that's it. As that fades out. So let's just recap on the effects chain stuff. Effects can be linked together essentially in a number of ways. 1 and 2 linked together, 2 and 3 linked together, or all 3 linked together. In order for you to send something through to the full chain, you have to send it to the first one in this list. So, for instance, if I want it to be sent to the linked FX1 and 2, I must send it to FX1. If I want it linked to send it to the linked FX2 and 3, I must send it to FX2 because it's the first one in the chain. If I just want a single effect, then I can send it to whichever I like without the chain being on. And if I want to send it to all 3, I must send it to the top FX1. This is global. This is the only part of the effects thing, the effects engine that is global, meaning that each individual part can't have a different effects chain. So look, I've got keyboard 1 selected. The effects chain is thus. If I go to the hi-hat part, it has the same effects chain. If I change it here and then jump back to my keyboard part, it's changed it there. This is global. It would be great if we could have this as a part, an individual part thing too, but unfortunately we can't. So you do have to bear that in mind when working with effects chains. Okay, that's it for this vid. I really hope it's helped. I hope I've articulated it well enough. I feel like I've slipped up a couple of times there, but whatever. I hope it's helped. So that's going to be it for the time being with these tutorials. There are a few things on this machine that we haven't looked at. One of them is motion sequence. Just off the top of my head, I'm looking now. Motion sequences, which allow you to record automation across the duration of a pattern. If you want me to look at that, give me a shout, please. The other thing that we haven't looked at, kind of the housekeeping stuff over here. We looked at patterns and part edit, but we didn't look at these 4 sections here. A lot of this, as I said, is kind of housekeeping stuff with the machine, kind of storage stuff, sample-based stuff. But if you do want me to check that out, then again, just kind of holler at me. Yeah, and any other questions, guys, just give me a shout. Apologies again for these videos coming out rather late. I've had quite a lot on, but I hope they've helped. This is me signing out for now, so peace, peace, peace. Thanks for watching.